Hi, this is Chiran, and today the presentation is about three companies Myntra needs to buy right now. Before I plunge headlong into making my case on what three companies Myntra needs to buy, I would like to talk about what Myntra is today. Myntra is an online mass premium marketplace for fashion brands, fashion accessories, and home decor. Home decor is a segment which Myntra has entered recently due to the margins which are pretty high and the growth factor involved there. Myntra's core focus is to be vertically deep in fashion brands, and technology is used as an enabler to give a better customer experience. Also, Myntra has a lot of features to help build communities around the brand. Communities wherein people can answer another people's query on fashion helps build stickiness, and this stickiness helps drive customer engagement and ultimately sales. Myntra's targeting currently right now $5 billion as gross merchandise value, or GMV as we call, by 2020. Using these 3 points, I would like to present my case on what Myntra needs to acquire. Before that, I would also like to talk about Myntra's current offerings. Myntra has something called as private labels or as private brands. Private labels enable company to have a very healthy margin in terms of revenue due to the factor that it is done all in-house and there are no royalties or margin cutoffs to be paid to others. Also, it gives a company a lot of flexibility in giving discounts during occasions or otherwise. Roaster is one of the private labels of Myntra. This started out as a biking brand, and today it is estimated the value of the brand is at $60 million today. This almost is like 7% of Myntra's total revenues in the year 2016. Another interesting brand is Moda Rapido. This brand is collections are completely driven by an artificial intelligence unit called as RT. So this engine checks out the latest trends, the latest styles, and is able to generate styles of its own and based on its prediction engine. And the from the previous way things were done, this takes up a few weeks time when it was almost a couple of months earlier. Celebrity endorsed private labels is another way of building revenue generating brands and also brand engagement. And in India, the celebrities are the two main categories, basically our Bollywood stars and cricketers. So Myntra has tied up with Bollywood stars like Hrithik Roshan and Deepika Padukone to build brands around them, and cricketers like Virat Kohli and Yuvraj Singh to build brands Rogan and UV Can. So talking about Myntra's current GMV, it is around $1 billion in as of today, that is 2016, and based on the current growth factor, the projection is expected to touch $5 billion by 2020. Recently, Myntra was in news for its acquisition of Jabong.com for around $60 million. So Jabong.com also is an online marketplace for fashion brands, and this acquisition should be seen in the light of as more of market share acquisition and customer base acquisition. The combined trinity of Flipkart, which is the parent of Myntra plus Myntra and Jabong, today owns almost 70% of the online fashion market. The first brand in the pipeline acquisition, I believe, should be Zivame. So what is Zivame? Zivame is an online retailer for women lingerie. This was started by Richa Kar 2011. This came about with Richa Kar's own personal experience in buying lingerie in India. Women in India had to buy their innerwear from shops usually fronted by male salesperson or clueless saleswoman with no knowledge of shapes, sizes, and inner garments which come in. Especially in our culturally sensitive country, shopping for women lingerie has been both an awkward and an embarrassing experience. This friction in selling innerwear has led to statistics of almost 4 in 5 women buying the wrong shape and size of innerwear. All these insights led Richa Carr to start Zivame as one-stop destination for women's inner garments. So Zivame offers its women customers to buy, see, and talk to customer experience on all the types of lingerie available on its portfolio. Coming to the lingerie market in India, it's currently the market size is at almost like $3 billion, growing at a healthy clip of 16%. So it's projected to reach $5 billion by the year 2020. So if you talk about like what is the how much is online share versus offline, it's currently less than 1%, a very minuscule percentage of the 3 billion market share. But at the same time, the online market is growing at 70% annually. Talking about Zivame, Zivame has a scorching rate of 300% year on year sales rate. This is a pretty strong growth. So based on current Zivame's current GMV and the scorching rate of growth, we can easily project that it can touch potentially $2 billion by the year 2019. This is the competitive landscape for Zivame and its competitors online. As you can see that Zivame has more than 51% of the online market share, which is much bigger pie than a lot of its the next nearest competitors next to it. Yes, the valuation of Zivame has touched $100 million and it's in the $100 million 100 million club and a potential unicorn in the years to come. So these are the investors in VCs invested, and as you can see, Kalari Capital is a common theme running across from Myntra to Zivame. So why Zivame? Zivame is a strong brand with a high recall rate among women for lingerie. It dominates online lingerie space with more than 50% of the market share. 70% of the revenues come from in-house brands or private labels. As we saw earlier, private labels offered any company with the maximum pie in the revenues. Zivame is growing at a scorching rate of 300% year on year. This is a rate which is unmatched in any other company we'll be seeing out in the further. Zivame customer experience has been so superior. There have been instances wherein the customers have called customer representatives to their weddings or other functions. So this shows how strong Zivame has built its brand among women today. The next brand I want to talk about is Wildcraft. So Wildcraft is a adventure brand. This was started by Dinesh in the early 90s, who himself was an enthusiastic trucker. So what used to happen in for outdoor enthusiasts in early 90s was that they had to import their trekking gear from abroad, or they had to use hand-me-downs or discarded gear from foreign trekkers. So once on a trekking expedition, Dinesh, who was using this hand-me-downs, suffered an equipment malfunction and had a grievous leg injury. So while he was recuperating at home, the idea of starting Wildcraft, our own India's homemade, homegrown adventure brand, started in his mind. So initially, the Wildcraft had a very humble origins. Dinesh himself used to pick up the materials, the zips, the handles. He used to design the adventure gear himself, get his stitched by the tailors in Pina near Bangalore, and sell it from his home shop. But the real way that Wildcraft came into prominence was during the early Bangalore IT boom. So what used to happen is these IT companies had a lot of mission critical applications running in Bangalore center, and they could not afford to lose any day. And in those days, buns and hartals were pretty common, and so they used to give bulk orders for sleeping bags for their employees. And their only condition was that it had to be light and compact, and for which the Wildcraft fit perfectly the bill. The real turning point for the brand Wildcraft came was when two co-founders, that is, Gaurav and Siddharth, joined them in 2007. They had a lot of management experiences in building brands in both nationally and an international level, and these were the guys who sat down, decided what Wildcraft is and what it should be in the future. They helped set the growth trajectory for what Wildcraft is there today. So if you look at the graph, this is the outdoors gear market size in India. It is currently pegged at around $2 billion, which is expected to go to $3 billion, growing at 10% annually. So what is Wildcraft's share as of today's adventure labels? It is, has 3% of the $2 billion market. The growth of Wildcraft today stands at 55% year on year, which is a pretty healthy growth for an adventure brand, which has got limited audience compared to a lot of other mass appeal brands. So based on their current GMV, this is the projection I have made, and they're expected to reach almost like $500 million by the year 2020. This projection does not take into account the current strategies Wildcraft has put in place, especially their foray into apparel and footwear market. Globally, the adventure brands like North Face or the parent org which owns North Face, they get maximum of their 70% of their revenues from apparel. So as Wildcraft is yet to initiate, those the returns from those strategies are not currently captured here. The VCs invested is currently right Sequoia Capital, and they have recently raised a third round of funding at an undisclosed valuation. So these are the competitors for Wildcraft, namely Woodland, Decathlon, and Columbia Sportswear. So question is, why Wildcraft? Wildcraft brand has a strong recall with adventure segment, especially backpacks. Adventure segment is one where the loyalty is very high and customer churn pretty less. Due to the element of risk involved in all activities, especially in adventure, high trust factor is built into the brand over a period of time. Also, Wildcraft has almost like 120 plus exclusive stores, over 2500 multi-brand stores across 400 plus Indian cities. As Myntra itself is pursuing its own omni-channel strategy, joining in hands with Wildcraft would help Myntra get a leg up in accessing these outdoor stores. Sorry. Also, Wildcraft has is already building up its strategy to grow across in global markets, especially in Middle East and Southeast markets. These markets have a similar temperature set as what we face in India, and the gears, usually the adventure gear designed from abroad, are ideally suited to Arctic conditions and not to tropics. And Wildcraft DNA is tropic conditions adventure gear, so they should be able to build a resonance in these markets. And also Myntra themselves had plans of going abroad into other markets, and this dovetails perfectly fine with Wildcraft's plans also. The third brand I would like to recommend is Bluestone. What is Bluestone? Bluestone is an online retailer for fashion jewelry. This was started by Gaurav Singh in early 2000 level. He was on a lookout for an engagement ring for his yet to be wife, and he had to roam around a couple of shops just trying to get the right design. All this running around made Gaurav like think, hey, There must be a better way of getting the right design instead of running around like this. This was the seed which started Bluestone. So if you look at the graph, the market for overall jewelry stands at $60 billion as of 2016, and this is growing at 14% annually, projected to touch $100 billion by year 2020. This is a very huge market. So what is the online share of this jewelry market? It is a minuscule 0.5% of the entire $60 billion as of today. And the total sales online has been $150 million. So there's a lot of headroom to grow. This is true especially if you look at the global markets like USA and China, where the online market constitutes almost 7% of the entire jewelry market share. So even if India is able to match up these numbers, the numbers are very huge. The growth rate of Bluestone has been pretty good. It's almost at 150% year-on-year basis. And taking a look at their projections for GMV based on current GMV and the growth factor, we see today it stands around a moderate $90 million, but this is expected to touch almost $3 billion by the year 2020. The market, as I said, is very huge and there's a lot of headroom to grow. This is the market share of Bluestone and its competitors. I need to add here that Karat Lane was recently acquired by Tanishq. Tanishq is a part of Tata Group, and they also are a jewelry arm of Titan Industries. And basically, they had a very big presence outside the online market, and this gives Tanishq an entry into the online market. Having said that, Bluestone is, you can say, almost neck to neck with Karat Lane in having the market share of online jewelry space. So these are just the brands which compete with the Bluestone. These are the VCs invested, and you can see that the common actor in all these companies I have mentioned till now is Kalari Capital. Barring Wildcraft, all other three companies starting from Myntra have this VC firm as a common factor. This should really help ease the acquisition process if it is as a candidate. So why Bluestone? Ideally, Karat Lane with a bigger market share would have been an ideal takeover candidate, but as it's been acquired by Tanishq, the next best size fits best here out here. Also, that Bluestone has no inventory and they offer 5,000 designs online. No offline jewelry store can match this inventory level, because in jewelry market the inventory costs are pretty high, as the inventory is made of precious metals and precious stones. So Bluestone has a very low cost overhead when it comes to the inventory. And to overcome the customer preference to feel and touch and try, they have a two-prong approach to reach the customer and help him buy the right design. One is an offline mode where it is called try at home. What happens is a customer chooses a particular design, a customer sales representative goes to the home with their jewelry item made from a lesser costing alloy, and the customer, based on the fit and size, he can then place an order when the order is then created. The other way Bluestone is doing is like they have virtual tools where you can upload a photo and try it on virtually. So both these features help drive Bluestone's customer acquisition part, and they have been doing a pretty good job at this. The last point I'd like to make is Bluestone is growing at a 150% year-on-year basis in this online market, and the market is today a minuscule percent of the overall jewelry market at less than 0.5%. There's a lot of headroom to grow, and the market size is big. So this is why I recommend Bluestone as the one of the companies to be acquired. Summarizing all this, I would say the three companies I have shown out here. Zivame for its a strong focus on women, a strong customer loyalty, and a huge market size of lingerie, and Bluestone for its a very good growth factor, the market size of the jewelry market, and its own strategies and its own growth rate out there. Wildcraft, a very strong adventure brand which has got a lot of potential to grow, and this is a space where it is a steady steady innings or in revenues. Has been the presentation. I would definitely like to know your feedback and any other inputs. Thank you.